Let's talk a little bit more about the red drink formula and how to use it and how we can think about including this as part of our program. Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Minke. This is Minke Wellness. There's been some discussion recently as more and more people are using the red drink. And I had some communication with Jen O'Sullivan and some requests to clarify the usage, right? So how much, how often, how long would you use these things for? So just to kind of respond to some of the comments and some maybe even some concerns for the oil content, for example, 3 drops of lime oil, is that a safe amount? How do we think about that? And so I'm just going to comment on some of those things. So first of all, I think for those of us who have been around using essential oils a long time, I've been in Young Living for over 20 years. I've been doing wellness for over 20 years. And certainly there's phenomena that I think those of us who have been in the field and doing this have observed. And that is, there can come a time where initially you're starting to use the oils, you love them and everything, and you're using the oils, whether you're taking them internally or topically, you can reach a point where all of a sudden, no matter what oils you use, that starts to create a rash. You start to get a reaction, a skin reaction from the oils. And there's different interpretations for the cause of this. And I'm going to share with you some of my interpretation. But this is, I think, the basis for some of these concerns and cautionary comments that maybe citrus oils, ingesting a lot of citrus oils over a long period can induce this kind of sensitivity. Okay, and so I would agree with the statement, and so I want to clarify some of these things. When you've heard, I already have a video on this, so I'm going to link that, but I'm going to kind of reiterate some of the things in that video, and that is essential oils in general tend to be phase 1 pushers. Phase 1 and phase 2 detox is something that goes on in the liver. Phase 1 is thought of the activation or mobilization of the toxin. A lot of times when a toxin comes in, especially in a period of time when it's too much, too fast, the body puts it all in storage. And so it kind of tries to neutralize it and store it. And then at a later date, some other time, it's kind of like you and I when we throw it in the garage, right? We throw it in the attic. We can't deal with it right now, so we just throw it in the attic. Then, we have an extra Saturday when we can get this stuff out, and so we start to pull that stuff out. Well, essential oils kind of force some of that out on us. In other words, it would be like a friend coming over and go, okay, we're going to take everything out of your garage. You go, oh, wait a minute, I can't handle that right now. And essential oils have a tendency to do that. They tend to mobilize toxins, and so if the body is not capable of doing phase 2, so that's phase 1. Phase 1 is mobilization. Phase 2 is the breakdown, detoxification, and elimination. Okay, that's that second phase. If you don't have enough phase 2 support, then it can happen. And this is tricky because now we're talking outside of any hardcore science here. This is observation, this is experience, this is intuition. So there's a lot of latitude for us to discuss this because I don't think anyone has an absolute answer on these things, okay? But what my experience is that you can have some kinds of toxins that they really hit you hard when they get mobilized, and if they don't get out right away, okay, and they can come out through the skin. So in other words, these toxins get mobilized often by essential oils, but that's not the only way they can get mobilized, and then they come out into the bloodstream. The body doesn't have the capability at that moment to get rid of these things, and so they come out on the skin, they come out in the breath, and we end up with a skin rash. That can happen from the inside, but it can also happen topically. That's kind of a different issue where you have buildup. If you're someone who's been using a lot of chemical-based skin products for a long time, and then all of a sudden you start using essential oils, pure essential oils, and you stop using those chemical-based skin products, the body eventually goes through a period where it's going to purge, okay? And so it starts to try to detox that, and it has to come out on the skin. Those two things are actually different, okay? So you can have it looks the same. It looks like a skin rash, and it looks like it's caused by essential oils, but those are going to be very different solutions, okay? If it's from a phase 1 stimulation in systemic in the body, and it's going through the liver is definitely the center of that issue, then we can support phase 2 and expect that to calm down. Actually, on the skin thing, you can do the same thing. You can support with the same supplements of phase 2, and you'll still get the same effect. It might take a little bit of different time, and you might have to tweak it differently, but it's essentially the same. Stop using the essential oils for a period of time and boost up your phase 2, right? So stop stimulating the phase 1 and get that phase 2 stimulated. So how do we do phase 2 stimulation? What does that mean? Phase 2 gets supported at a very basic level with vitamin C and sulfurzyme, okay? Sulfurzyme and vitamin C, those are your best friends for phase 2 detoxification, phase 2 support. So if you do, and so now let me come back to this comment about some legitimate concerns out there in the field where someone is taking a whole lot of citrus oils. And here where we can argue about what's a whole lot, you know, is 6 drops a day, is 12 drops a day, is 20 drops a day? You know, I mean, that really depends. You got to pay attention to your own body. But, you know, 3 drops I think is pretty safe. And I think even Jen O'Sullivan is saying, you know, 6 drops is, you know, that seems okay. You know, 12 drops is kind of the daily max type of thing. But everyone's going to be a little bit different. So you're going to still have to pay attention to your body, all right? But either way, we're talking about the citrus oils that tend to be, you know, phase 1 pushers. And over time, you can end up overloading the body, and then you have this reaction. It is, she made a comment in that it's referring to liver damage and liver failure. It's not that, okay? And I don't think she thinks that. I mean, liver failure is jaundice, swelling, and death. I mean, abdominal swelling and death. This is not what we're talking about. We're talking about skin rash and sensitivities. That's not liver damage, okay? So let's just you know, make sure our language is maybe a little more balanced on this. That being said, there's, like I said, this legitimate concern, and the liver is definitely at the center of this. So what happens is if you support the liver, that problem tends to go away. And one of my children has been this way, very, very sensitive to the essential oils, and he's not anymore. We have done a very thorough job supporting his liver, doing Juvatone, Sulfurzyme, Juvatone, Sulfurzyme, Juvatone, Sulfurzyme. That's in my Moody Teen Pack. So for teenagers especially, need that extra liver support. So that generated a balance of bringing his system down in terms of reactivity, and he's been much more capable, he's been able to use the essential oils without any trouble. So it used to be sensitive, he's not sensitive anymore. And I've seen this over and over with people who do develop a sensitivity. They can regain their desensitized system. They can get back to using oils once they get that phase 2 supported. Okay. Now let's talk specifics. In other words, if you start to look at the red drink, I designed the red drink precisely with this in mind. Okay, so support with sulfurzyme and support with excellent antioxidants, which is going to be, both of those are going to be very good support for phase 2. And then you add in a little bit of the extra citrus oils to get that phase 1. So the red drink is a very, very balanced drink. That being said, do I take it every single day, all day for the rest of my life? No, not that I think it's dangerous to do that, but I just have a tendency to go with what I feel like my body needs. And I will typically do things for a couple weeks, a week or 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then I switch. If you notice my YO Wellness program, it's monthly and you switch it and you do a different thing the next month, okay? So it's really good to switch up. I do completely agree with that. To switch things up, don't do the same thing over and over again forever, except drink water and breathe, okay? And so there's a very sensible advice to break it up a little bit, all right? Now, I don't think you have to worry, I don't think you have to worry about drinking 12 drops of a citrus oil in your water every day. I mean, if you're doing red drink, if you're doing other forms of citrus oil, I personally wouldn't be worried about 12 drops a day, for a couple months if that's really your thing and you really like it. I would advise taking a break every once in a while from that, especially paying attention to your body and watching out for any kind of skin reactivity or just general detox. You're getting too heavy on the detox, then you might need to back off on the citrus oils. Okay, so a lot of this, let me make one more comment about this. So in other words, the red drink was already designed with that in mind. I think I'm going to suggest that you can be very confident in this formula to support both phase 1 and phase 2 detox, and then enjoy it for what it does for you. In other words, you've got to get in touch with your body and know what you need to do. And it could be that, for you, 2 weeks is plenty, and you've done it, and then you take a break from it, and you go on and do something else. So this is just part of the usage advice of anything, but certainly the red drink. Do a 21-day challenge, take a break for a couple weeks, come back on it. Now, some of this information has come about because of a review article that was published suggesting that monoterpenes have liver toxicity. And I'm going to put a link in here to address this particular review article and why I think that the title is overstated and the review article is fairly poorly done in terms of not a very broad range of the literature, not a very extensive review of the literature. It also focuses on 5 monoterpenes that, are known, or 4 of those are known to have a little bit more toxicity, and then they pulled 1 study out of limonene. In other words, I'm gonna address that as part of this, and it just happens. For those of you who don't care, don't worry about it, but it's just that this review article was used as justification for the concern about monoterpenes, and then people started getting concerned about, wait a minute, which oils have monoterpenes? Just about all of them. And so that's why I did another little video on the chemistry of monoterpenes and phenylpropanoids and the difference between terpenes and phenylpropanoids and the biosynthetic pathways of that, okay? So all of that hopefully is helping to clarify. It's probably for some going to cause more confusion if you're not up on this whole issue. Don't worry about it. If these things come up, I'd be happy to answer questions and try to address and help to clarify some of these things. Hopefully this is giving you a little bit more confidence and understanding that 1, the red drink is a very balanced, very well thought out formula to support both phase 1 and phase 2 detox at the same time. And 2, certainly reasonable to take a break every once in a while from your supplement program, which is, if you're following the Wild Wellness program, you're already doing because you're doing something to support each body system on a month-to-month basis, okay? Happy wellness.